A 60-yard field goal try to close out the half. Tucker got the leg into it. It's long enough.
Playing in the NFL is very hard work. While it's only 17 games, they are grueling as can be, and there's a boatload of preparation that goes into getting prepared for each matchup, both physical and mental. Treatment, studying the game plan, you name it. There is no shortage of prerequisites to try and get ready for game day at the professional level, which only exasperates the relatively short shelf life that the game's players have. After all, there's only so long that a guy can get his body and mind up to speed to perform at an NFL caliber level. And thus far in the 2024 season, we've seen quite a few players that look like their best days are now behind them. As their performances have dipped, the injuries are piling up, and the spark that made them stars seems to be flickering out. AKA, they may be ready for retirement. So, let's dive into 10 big-name players that might be on the golf course at this time next year. Deshaun Watson, QB, Cleveland Browns. Let's get an obvious one out of the way early. The Deshaun Watson saga in Cleveland has been nothing short of a nightmare. For him as a player, for the team, the fans, for humanity, in nearly every aspect possible, this one has been an unmitigated disaster. After sitting out of the 2021 season due to off-field issues, aka allegedly being a terrible person, Watson returned in 2022 with the Cleveland Browns only to look like a shadow of his former self. In the time since, it has gone from bad to worse. He played just 6 games in each of his first 2 seasons in Cleveland, and, well, he didn't look particularly good doing it. Think about it in the context of his final season on the field in Houston. Back in 2020, when he completed over 70% of his passes for 4,823 yards and 33 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. In the 12 games that he started in 2022 and 2023, he threw more interceptions, 9, and combined threw for just 2,217 yards and 14 touchdowns. And the stats don't even tell at all. The guy looks absolutely lost out there, and like he has zero love for the game of football whatsoever anymore. Fast forward to 2024, and things have only gotten worse. He is a $230 million anchor on what would otherwise be a potential Super Bowl contending Browns team in the AFC, and he knows it. Everything about his body language, disposition in the media, and quite frankly, his play on the field just screams that he is ready for retirement. And who knows, with the latest allegations, he may get pushed toward that reality in short order. Adam Thielen, WR, Carolina Panthers. The Adam Thielen story has been a wonderful one to watch unfold over the past decade or so. He went from undrafted free agent to Pro Bowl wide receiver, making plays all over the field for the Vikings. But since joining the Carolina Panthers, it has been all downhill. The gutsy wideout proved that he still had something in the tank last year, but through 2 games in 2024, Thielen has just 5 catches for 69 yards, and it's starting to look like his explosiveness may be fading out entirely. He's a smart player with great hands and provides a veteran presence, but when the legs start to go, there's only so much you can do. And even if he does still have what it takes to keep balling at the NFL level, is it really worth it to continue on if he has to do it in a Panthers uniform? I get that Thielen is a fierce competitor and the kind of guy that has always been willing to put his body on the line for his team, but on some level, he has to feel ridiculous at 34 doing that for Carolina. Maybe we'll see some revitalization down in Charlotte now that they've finally pulled the plug on the Bryce Young experiment. Not that Andy Dalton's really all that much better. But in any case, no one to blame Thielen if he'd rather call it quits and hit the links now than finish out the season. Calais Campbell, DL, Miami Dolphins. Campbell has played some of his best football in his 30s and continues to be going strong at the age of 37. He went south to Atlanta before recording 5.5 sacks in 14 games with Baltimore last season, but is quickly approaching the end of his career. He has 1 sack so far, but has looked like he's lost a step in a big way. At 6'8", nearly 300 pounds, Calais Campbell has been one of the most dominant defensive linemen of the past decade. The man is a 5-time Pro Bowler and has been on the fringe of the Defensive Player of the Year conversation multiple times. But at 37 years old, it looks like he's starting to lose his edge. Campbell has been a constant disruptor in the backfield throughout his career, but it's now starting to look like he's struggling to get off blocks. He's managed to notch 1 sack through 2 games this year, but it doesn't look like the same guy that we're used to seeing, even as recently as last year when he was with the Falcons. Of course, his career longevity has been very impressive, but at this point, Campbell may be running on fumes. Not the premium fuel required to get that massive frame firing at a Pro Bowl level. Justin Tucker, kicker, Baltimore Ravens. Justin Kicker has been a mainstay in Baltimore since he signed as an undrafted free agent shortly after the 2012 NFL Draft. Tucker ended up being one of the biggest UDFA signings in Baltimore's history. For what feels like an eternity, Justin Tucker has been the gold standard at the kicker position, full stop. His leg strength, accuracy, and composure under pressure made him one of the most feared kickers in the entire league. Yes, feared kickers sounds like an egregious oxymoron, but seriously, Tucker brought validity to that word combination. Since 2012, all he's done is become an 8-time All-Pro, a 7-time Pro Bowler, and the Ravens' all-time leading point scorer. And if you were looking at some icing on the cake of what many expect to be a Hall of Fame career, Tucker's 66-yard game-winning field goal in 2021 still stands as the longest in NFL history. But sadly, we all gotta come to terms with something. He is still human, and cracks are now starting to show. Tucker has missed more kicks from 50-plus yards than ever before. For a player who's built his reputation on being automatic from deep, this decline is significant. And while Tucker is still serviceable, it's clear that he is no longer the lock he once was, and it looks like it is starting to wear on him mentally. If he ends up eclipsing the fine line between serviceable and liability, don't be surprised if we see him call it quits in a hurry. Kicking does not have the same physical toll as playing any other position in the NFL, of course, but when you do anything at a truly elite level the way that Tucker has throughout his entire career, it can become incredibly draining, mentally and emotionally, to keep showing up to work. Ezekiel Elliott, RB, Dallas Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott was once the most feared running back in the NFL. When he came out of Ohio State, he hit the ground running, no pun intended. But hey, dad jokes aside, his punishing running style, vision, and ability to wear down defenses made him the centerpiece of the Cowboys offense. And to his credit, he maintained that standard for years. But time catches up with everyone, and Elliott is no exception. His yards per carry have dropped steadily since 2021, and by 2023, he ranked near the bottom of the league in almost every key metric: yards after contact, missed tackles forced, and explosive runs. There's a reason that people were so puzzled when he and the Cowboys aligned on a reunion after his stint in New England. Zeke is only 28, but for a running back, that's pretty ancient. With his declining production and mounting wear and tear, it's hard to see Elliott sticking around much longer, especially now that he's on a one-year deal and looking more washed up than ever. Zach Ertz, TE, Washington Commanders. Zach Ertz had a rare combination of the ability to create separation, make clutch catches, and block in the run game, which made him a tight end that few players have ever had to deal with. In short, he was the complete package, and he was for a long time. But at 33, turning 34 in November, and having fought through a couple of major injuries, Ertz looks like a player on his last legs. Through 2 games with the Commanders, he has really started to look like he is better suited for retirement than enduring the grueling reality of playing tight end in the NFL. The 3-time Pro Bowler has managed just 7 catches for 90 yards through 2 games, and doesn't have much burst left at all. With his knowledge of the game and 6'5" frame, he can still contribute something. But with how things look in Washington, as the team is still in what feels like an eternal rebuild, there are indicators left, right, and center that Ertz is ready for retirement. Cooper Kupp, WR, Los Angeles Rams. Make no mistake about it, Cooper Kupp's 2021 season was one for the ages. The former 3rd-round pick put up a monster year, one that we may never see a wide receiver replicate. He totaled 1,947 receiving yards and 16 touchdowns, and became just the 8th receiver to earn Super Bowl MVP honors to top it off. But since then, it's been a different story. Injuries have started to plague Kupp, and his 2024 campaign has been marred by yet another setback. Kupp had an impressive Week 1 performance, but now that he has been sidelined again, and it's starting to look like a never-ending cycle of injuries, he might be ready to settle into retirement. Tua Tagovailoa, QB, Miami Dolphins. Okay, not trying to pour salt on the wound here, but after watching the Dolphins quarterback endure yet another head injury, it's hard not to see him as being very much ready for retirement. After another ugly concussion scare just 2 games into the 2024 season, the conversation around Tua's future is starting to shift from can he be a franchise quarterback to should he retire for his own safety? Now, while everything that he said has been to the contrary, the optics still aren't good, and he is really looking like he's ready to retire. And if he isn't, well, unfortunately, he should probably start preparing himself too. DEAndre Campbell, LB, San Francisco 49ers. DEAndre Campbell's All-Pro season in 2021 feels like a lifetime ago. Since then, his performance has gradually diminished, and now it looks like it is ready to take a nosedive. After signing with the 49ers in 2024, Campbell has struggled to make an impact, managing just 10 tackles and no sacks through the first few games of the season. Even more concerning is that he has looked out of sorts in coverage, which has always been a major strength for him. He's on a 1-year deal with the Niners, and with the injuries that they've had on their defense, he'll likely stick it out, but still, he is looking like he is very ready for retirement. Ryan Bates? Oh well, Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears' offensive line has been a weak spot for years, and while folks in the media expected it to be much improved this year, the results just haven't really reflected that at all. And unfortunately, one of their offseason acquisitions, Ryan Bates, has been one of the biggest culprits in 2024, as his block success rate has been among the worst on the team. Part of the problem that we've since discovered is that Bates is dealing with an arthritic condition in his elbow and shoulder, which definitely helps to explain why he's had such a hard time containing the opposing pass rush. The Bears have decided to force him into some rest and place him on the IR, meaning that he's going to be sidelined for at least the next month, and that it'll be Nate Davis at right guard moving forward. Now, I don't know about you, but if that doesn't reek of ready for retirement, I don't know what does. But hey, which NFL players do you think look most ready for retirement? Were there any that you disagreed with? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Who would you have put on this list? Let us know in the comment section below. And hey, if you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking that like button helps us out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.